BodyBags, where horror lies.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to BodyBags. It's week 206, and I'm your Sunday host, Bourgie86, here again. Yes, guys, it's that time again for the Sunday review, and the film I got for you guys today is actually a brand new film from 2017. Yes, it's been a while since I actually did like a 2017 or like a newer type film on BodyBags. And this one caught my interest from the cover art alone, and it's a horror anthology, and it goes by the title of Galaxy of Horrors. Yes, this is from the creators of Minutes Past Midnight, which was another anthology film. That one is more horror based, I believe. This one's actually takes a sci-fi horror approach. A lot of the shorts are involved in like a sci-fi aspect of stuff. And this one had a cool wraparound story, actually, from the beginning of it. Pretty much what ends up happening is, in the wraparound story, is it's about this guy who's in like this life pod, which is acting up, and ends up showing him these short films. And pretty much what ends up happening every time he ends up watching one of these shorts, his life supply ends up draining out each time the short runs. So it's up to him to try to figure out how to stop this and stop these shorts to save his air supplies, because if they keep on playing, then the more he'll have less time to die. That's pretty much the main plot of the wraparound story. Now, the shorts themselves are very interesting. First up, we have the short Eden, which was a cool kind of like post-apocalyptic like tale that involved like infection in a way, and it had like a cool aspect of like a like a infection like slash zombie type feel to it, with like the story and the aspect of that, what was going on in it. Then the second story is Iris, which kind of is a play on Siri in a way, if you know Siri, of course, the iPhone, and just the way that Iris is kind of like the same aspect of like a Siri in a way, but it goes into a dark and deranged tone, that story. Next up is Flesh Computer, which is kind of like a homage to David Cronenberg in a way. It has like a lot of Cronenberg tendencies with like about this handyman who has this supercomputer in his office in this building complex, and this computer has more than meets the eye, pretty much, in that short story. Then we have Pathos, which is kind of like a bizarre thing where you pay to have like this different reality, and what would happen if it went awire one day and the technology failed on you. That is pretty much the aspect of that short that I got out of it. I'm giving like brief synopsis on these guys because they are kind of short, some of these. Next up is Eveless, which has a take where we live in like the society where women don't longer exist, and it's up to like these two people who are trying to recreate a woman, pretty much. We like the aspect of that. I don't want to really give too much away into that one because it is wicked short for what it is. And then we have They Will All Die in Space, which is kind of an aspect, is kind of like a homage to like films like Alien in a way, with like the set design of like the building and stuff. It's pretty much has like an alien vibe to it, where like these crew members wake up this guy from a cryogenical sleep, and shit starts going haywire after that, and we find out stuff as that short progresses. And then we have Entity, which is about a young astronaut who ends up getting into like this satellite accident where the satellite blows up and she's actually floating into space, but unbeknownst to her, something else is waiting for her besides like a slow death, because there's like no contact inside space. She's just in her spacesuit, and then something else happens. That's pretty much the main gist of that one. And the final story is Kings, which is kind of more the most down-to-earth story, because I think it takes place during like a present setting, pretty much, where it's about these two guys who are trying to do like this drug deal in like this nightclub, and then shit goes haywire as one of the guys ends up finding out his sister is actually in the nightclub, and there's a dark entity stalking her, pretty much. That's pretty much the main plot of the gist of the final short of this. Now, my thoughts on the whole anthology as a whole, pretty solid. I actually had fun with this one. It actually has like a cool lot like sci-fi horror elements to it, with like homages to like Cronenberg, like Ridley Scott, and numerous other like sci-fi gems that I've grown up watching over the years. And I just enjoyed it. There's some stories that I liked better than others, of course. Probably my top few favorites are They Will All Die in Space. I enjoyed Eden. And what's the other one I enjoyed? Flesh Computer I enjoyed. And I actually liked Kings. They were all pretty fun for what they were. And the ones that weren't necessarily my favorite ones, I can't say that they were badly made, because they had like great like camera aspects and effects in them too. Just some of them were kind of weirder than others, and some of them kind of had like could have been more fleshed out, is more the word I'm looking for. They weren't exactly bad, but I just wish they were more fleshed out in some of the story aspects of them, with some of the aspects of like character development and stuff like that. But they weren't necessarily bad, even those shorts. I did enjoy it all for what it was. It kind of like took me out too, but I kind of figured out what it was, especially with the aspect of like the wraparound story is they actually have like credit intros for like the beginning of like each short, which kind of takes you aspect, because usually you don't see that in normal anthologies. But it kind of made sense because he was the computer systems of this pod was showing him like short films pretty much. So I could see that aspect where you could get into like seeing like credit sequences then. So it didn't really take me out of it, but it took me out of it. I got used to it as the film progressed, because I was thinking more about it as was watching, and like, oh, okay, now I get it, because it's a computer memory of like this saved like film pretty much. So I could see why it was like that. So yeah, overall, it's if you're a fan of like sci-fi horror, this is a very interesting anthology. Like I said, you might like some of them more than others, but they are well made. They have like well made like camera aspects and great effects in them. Especially Iris is kind of funny. I actually listened to the audio commentary on this film too, and the audio commentary is actually with the director of that short and Iris herself, the actual phone like thing, Iris. It's actually very funny in aspect of that. Really fun commentary track too on this release from Can, which I believe is the company that made this. Really awesome stuff. I highly recommend Galaxy of Horrors. If I had to rate it as a whole, even though I didn't really care for some of the stories aspects, I didn't know that they were well made enough to give them respect. I'm going to give it a solid 7 out of 10. I really did enjoy this anthology as a whole, even though some of the stories were out there and kind of could have been fleshed out more, but overall it had some enjoyable aspects to it. So I really did enjoy this. 7 out of 10 for Galaxy of Horrors. Alright guys, this is for this review. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll be back next week with another one, guys. Peace out.